Hi everyone, myself Priya S, Assistant Professor, Department of Applied Electronics and Instrumentation, Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology. Today I am going to give you a lecture on optical fiber, and in this we are going to see mainly about the principle of optical fiber, the acceptance angle, acceptance cone, numerical aperture, V number, then the different types of optical fiber, the classification based on materials, refractive index, and the mode of transmission. The main references are optoelectronics and introduction by J. Wilson and J.F.B. Hawkes. Optical fiber communication principles and practice by John M. Zinner. Optical fiber communication by G. Kaiser. So before coming to optical fiber, I am going to give an explanation on optical fiber communication system. So optical fiber communication system, the block diagram is shown here. It consists of a transmitter side, a receiver side, and the transmitter and the receiver is connected by means of a repeater. That is, a channel will be there and a repeater will be there in the channel. So the generally message origin is from a transducer that converts a non-electrical message into an electrical signal. So common examples include microphones for converting sound waves into current, and video cameras for converting images into current. For data transfer between computers, the message is already in electrical form. And the main part of a transmitter is a modulator. The two main functions of modulators are: it converts the electrical message into a proper format, and it impresses a signal into the wave generated by the carrier source. Then the carrier source generates a wave on which the information is transmitted. This wave is called the carrier. For fiber optic system, a laser diode or a light emitting diode is used as a carrier source. They can be called a optic oscillator. They provide stable single frequency waves with a sufficient power for long distance propagation. Next is a channel coupler. The purpose of a channel coupler is that the coupler feeds the power into the information channel. So for an atmospheric optical system, the channel coupler is a lens used for collimating the light emitted by the source and directing this light towards the receiver. The coupler must efficiently transfer the modulated light beam from the source to the optical fiber. The channel coupler design is an important part of a fiber system because of the possibility of high losses. Next is the information channel. Actually, information channel is a path between the transmitter and the receiver. In fiber optic communication, a glass or a plastic fiber is a channel. Another important property of information channel is the propagation time of the waves traveling along it. A signal propagating along a fiber normally contains a range of optical frequency and divides its power along several ray paths. This results in a distortion of propagating signal. In the digital system, this distortion appears as a spreading and deforming of pulses. This spreading is so great that the adjacent pulses begin to overlap and become unrecognizable as separate bits of information. Then in the receiver side, we will be having an optical detector. The information being transmitted is a detector. In the fiber optic system, the optical wave is converted into electrical current by the photodetector. The current developed by the detector is proportional to the power in the incident optic wave. The detector output current contains the transmitted information. This detector output is then filtered to remove the constant bias and then amplified. In the signal processing unit includes filtering, amplification. The proper filtering maximizes the ratio of signal to unwanted power. For a digital system, decision circuit is an additional block. The bit error rate should be very small for quality communications. Then the output message, the electric form of the message emerging from the signal processor are transformed into a sound wave or a visual image. Sometimes these signals are directly usable when computers or other machines are connected through a fiber system. Next we will see the advantages of optical fiber communication system. The main advantages includes it is having large bandwidth. Next one is it is having smaller diameter and lighter weight, and this particular property helps its use for ideal transmission media for ships, aircraft and satellites. There is no crosstalk between parallel fibers, and another important advantage of is the immunity to inductive interference. That is, as optical fibers are made of dielectric materials rather than metal, they do not act as antenna to pick up the noise. So what happens is that it will help in a noise-free transmission of signals, and thereby we can operate optical fibers very satisfactorily in a noisy electrical environment. The another advantage is it is having greater security, greater safety, because there is no shock hazard. Then it is having longer lifespan. In general case, 20 to 30 years is a predicted lifespan of an optical fiber communication system. The main disadvantage includes is high initial cost, and then high maintenance and repairing cost. Then we should follow certain procedures for joining and testing of fiber. That is, optical fibers are of very small size, so the fiber joining process is very costly, and it requires a skilled manpower. Then another important disadvantage is the tensile stress. That is, it is more susceptible to buckling, bending and tensile stress than compared to copper cables. Another disadvantage is something regarding the fiber losses. That is, the fiber lose the content by means of scattering, dispersion, attenuation and reflection. The main application of optical fiber communication system is in the field of telecommunication, data communication, and video control and protection switching, and in the field of sensors and power applications. Next is the electromagnetic spectrum. So the fiber optics actually uses the visible and the infrared region of the electromagnetic spectrum. So the infrared light covers a wide range of wavelength and is generally used for all fiber optic communications, whereas the visible light is normally used for very short range transmission using a plastic fiber. This is all about optical fiber communication system. Next we are going to see in detail about optical fibers. So actually optical fiber is a dielectric waveguide or a media in which the information is transmitted through a glass or a plastic fiber in the form of light. The main parts of an optical fiber includes a core, a cladding and an external coating. The core is actually transparent material with the refractive index N1, and it is surrounded by a transparent cladding with a slightly less refractive index N2. Usually the refractive index of cladding is less than 1% than that of core, and the typical value of refractive index of core is 1.47 and that of cladding is 1.46. And the purpose of cladding is to support the waveguide structure, protect the core from the absorbing surface contaminants, and then it will reduce the radiation loss to the surrounding air. And additionally, most of the fibers includes an elastic abrasion resistant plastic material which mechanically isolates the fiber from small geometrical irregularities and distortions. And the diagram shows the structure of a optical fiber. Usually core is of 62.5 micrometer and cladding is of 125 micrometer. Next we will see what is ray theory. Ray theory is actually law of optics. That is, when light travels through a material, it exhibits certain behavior explained by the laws of reflection and refraction. The law of reflection states that when a light ray is incident upon a reflective surface at an incident angle phi 1 from an imaginary perpendicular normal, the ray will get reflected from the surface at an angle phi 2 from normal, which is equal to the angle of incidence. That is, according to the law of reflection, the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. Then next is law of refraction. The property of refraction occurs when light ray passes from one media to another. That is, the light ray changes its direction at the interface between the mediums. Then the refraction occurs mainly because of the change of density between the two media. And when the wave passes through a less dense media to a more dense media, the wave is bended towards the normal and it moves away from the normal when it is moving from a more dense media to a less dense media. And the speed of light in free space is higher than in water or in glass. Next is, we are going to see what is the principle of light propagation through an optical fiber. And the principle behind the light propagation is nothing but total internal reflection. So before coming to total internal reflection, we should know what is refractive index. Refractive index is actually the ratio between the velocity of light in vacuum to the velocity of light in the media in which it is traveling. And another thing is that it is ruled by Snell's law of refraction, which states that n1 sin phi 1 is equal to n2 sin phi 2, where n1 and n2 is the refractive index of the two media, and phi 1 is the angle of incidence and phi 2 is the angle of refraction. And the Snell's law relates the angle of incidence and angle of refraction. As n1 is always greater than n2, the angle of refraction is always greater than the angle of incidence. When the angle of refraction is 90 degree, the refracted ray emerges parallel to the interface between the dielectrics. And this particular angle is known as the critical angle. And at the critical angle, sin theta c is equal to n2 by n1, where n2 and n1 is the ratio between the refractive index of the two media. This diagram shows the nature of light rays when it is traveling from two medias, and then the resultant is if the angle of incidence is greater than the critical angle, the light is reflected back into the originating dielectric media, and this results in the total internal reflection. And the advantage is that it is having high efficiency, and the efficiency is approximated as 99.9%. It's a major advantage of transmitting signals using optical fiber. Another condition, so in general we can tell that total internal reflection occurs at the interface between two dielectric if it satisfies two conditions. That is, when a light is incident on a dielectric of lower index from a dielectric of higher index, and second condition is that the angle of incidence of the ray exceeds a critical value. Okay, so the total internal reflection is the mechanism by which the light propagates down the optical fiber. And the ray is having an angle of incidence phi at the interface, which is always greater than the critical angle and is reflected at the same angle to the normal. This diagram shows the light total internal reflection happening in an optical fiber. The ray enters into the glass fiber at a point P, making a refractive angle phi 1. Then it is propagated diagonally down the core and reflects from the core wall at the point Q. When the light ray reflects off the inner surface, the angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection, and which is this is always greater than the critical angle. And in order for the ray of light to propagate down the cable, it must strike the core cladding interface with an angle greater than that of the critical angle. That these two conditions should be satisfied for a proper total internal reflection. So that is all about the propagation of light in an optical fiber. Next we are going to see what is an acceptance angle. So acceptance angle, it is defined as a maximum angle to the axis at which the light may enter the fiber in order to be propagated. Okay. So we have already learned about Snell's law. And if we connect Snell's law and acceptance angle, what we find is that acceptance angle value, that is phi naught max value, is equal to a sine inverse root of n1 square minus n2 square by n0, where n1 is the refractive index of the core, n2 is the refractive index of the cladding, and n0 is the refractive index of the air. And this is acceptance cone. The acceptance cone is obtained by rotating the acceptance angle about the fiber axis. And if you rotate the acceptance angles around the fiber axis, definitely a cone shape pattern will be generated, and that cone is known as the acceptance cone. So the importance of acceptance cone is that it is the angle within which the light is accepted into the core and is able to travel along the core. Next is numerical aperture. The numerical aperture is nothing but is a figure of merit which represents the light gathering capacity of the fiber. That is, larger the numerical aperture, greater the amount of light accepted by the fiber. The relation of numerical aperture is equal to root of n core square minus n cladding square. That is it is a relation between, it's a difference between the numerical aperture of core and cladding. So from this, what we understand is that numerical aperture is not a function of fiber dimension. It is completely depending upon the refractive index of core and cladding. And the refractive index and cone of acceptance is related by the equation. Numerical aperture and the cone of acceptance is related by the equation Na is equal to sine of acceptance angle. And another parameter is the index difference. Index difference delta is equal to the difference of the refractive index of core and cladding divided by the refractive index of the core, and it's given by n1 minus n2 divided by n1. If we replace the value by means of numerical aperture, then delta can be written as delta is equal to numerical aperture square divided by 2n1 square. Next we are going to see what are the different types of optical fibers and the different modes of propagation. So optical fiber, it is mainly classified into two types depending on the mode of operation, and it is multi-mode and single mode. And again, it is again classified into step index and graded index. And the explanation is that the single mode fibers are those fibers which are capable of carrying only one signal of a specific wavelength, whereas a multimode propagation is that in which the light propagates along the fiber in a zigzag fashion, provided it can undergo total internal reflection at the core cladding boundaries. Then modes of fiber. Actually, modes is nothing but the patterns during transmission. That is, we know that light rays are electromagnetic waves, and it consists of two components, the electric field and the magnetic field. These electric field and magnetic field form patterns across the fiber, and these patterns are known as modes of transmission. And the mode of a fiber, it refers to the number of paths from the light rays within the cable. Mode of fiber refers to the number of paths for the light rays within the cable. According to modes, optical fibers are classified into two types, that is single mode fiber and multi-mode fiber. In single mode fiber, light ray is allowed to propagate only in one path, whereas in multi-mode fiber, numerous modes are carried out simultaneously through the waveguide. Next is step index single mode fiber. So in step index single mode fiber, the core is of constant refractive index N1 with a less diameter, and cladding is of slightly lower refractive index N2. The diameter of core is very small, ranging from 8 to 10 micrometer, and cladding is 125 micrometer. And there is a step change of refractive index at the interface between the core and the cladding medium. And the single mode optical fiber, it can allow for propagation of only few modes through it at a time because of its smaller diameter. Since the signal transmitter is very less, the signal broadening is not practically found in this step index single mode fibers. And another thing is that the signal propagates along the axis of the core. This shows the refractive index profile and the mode of transmission of a step index single mode fiber. These fibers can transmit data at 50 Gbps for 100 kilometers without amplification. That is a major advantage. And it is mainly used for long distance communication. Next is step index multi-mode. In step index multi-mode, the refractive index of core is provided same, that is the refractive index profile remains the same, but the core diameter is almost 5 times greater than the single mode fiber, that is it is approximately 50 to 100 micrometers. And because of this larger core diameter, many modes can propagate through step index multi-mode fiber. But there is a restriction in the bandwidth of the optical fiber. In this fiber, a ray with a smaller angle of incidence requires more bounces, thus will make more time to reach the destination, whereas the ray with high angle of incidence will require less number of bounces and will reach the destination in lesser time. That is the disadvantage of this step index multi-mode fiber, that is different ray reaches the destination at different times. This shows the refractive index profile and the mode of transmission of step index multi-mode fiber. These fibers, they are mainly used in They can mainly use incoherent optical sources such as LEDs because of its larger core dia and larger numerical aperture. Next is graded index multimode fiber. In graded index multimode fiber, the refractive index of the core is varied as a function of radial distance from the center of the fiber, whereas the refractive index of the cladding is maintained constant. It is having different density at the core and at the edges. That is, the density is highest at the center of the core and it decreases gradually to its lowest at the edge. Because of this, different beams refract at different angles and it forms a curve. So, the advantage of graded index over step index multimode fiber is that the signals take different distances through the fiber and therefore the signal distortion is not seen as they travel through the media with a different refractive index. There is the distance it covers more distance, one that covers more distance travel through low refractive index than the one covers with a less distance. That is, it will not be following, even though it will be following different path, it will be reaching the destination at the same time. So, this particular modes, the multimode fibers are used for illumination purposes. These are some of the standard fibers available and the parameters like the cladding diameter, the core diameter and some of the applications. And this particular table compares the step index and the graded index fiber. That is, the main parameter under consideration are the data rate, coupling efficiency, ray path, index variation, numerical aperture, materials used, bandwidth efficiency, pulse spreading, attenuation of light. So these are all about fiber propagation and types of fiber. Next we are going to see the characteristics of fiber. So main transmission characteristics of fiber are attenuation and bandwidth. Attenuation is nothing but loss. The bandwidth is limited by the signal dispersion within the fiber, and it is the signal dispersion. It determines the number of bits of information transmitted in a given period of time. The attenuation is nothing but the transmission loss it is usually expressed in a logarithmic unit of decibel, and it is defined for a particular optical wavelength as a ratio of transmitted power into the fiber to the received power from the fiber, and it is usually represented in decibel, and it's governed by the equation 10 log to the base 10 pi by p out. That is, pi is the input optical power into the fiber and po is the output optical power from the fiber. So in optical fiber communication, the attenuation is usually expressed in decibels per unit length, and it is represented by alpha dB. Alpha dB is the signal attenuation per unit length in decibel, and L is the fiber length. And the major causes of attenuation in a fiber is absorption loss, scattering loss, and bending loss. We are going to see in detail about the different losses in the fiber which causes the attenuation in fiber. So first we are going to see about the absorption loss. So absorption is something by which the energy of a photon is taken up by the matter, and typically the electrons of an atom. And in case of light, the absorption can be either intrinsic or extrinsic. Intrinsic is due to the material components of the glass, extrinsic due to the impurities introduced into the glass during the fabrication. And the intrinsic absorption, it is caused by the basic constituent atoms of the fiber material. That is, if a optical fiber is absolutely pure with no imperfections or impurities, then all absorption will be intrinsic. In optical fibers, pure glass fibers are used, and the wavelength of operation ranges from 700 nanometers to 1600 nanometers. And we know that the photon energy is inversely proportional to wavelength. The ultraviolet absorption decays exponentially with the increasing wavelength. And there is another type of loss which is known as the infrared loss, which occurs due to the intrinsically bad conductivity of glass to infrared wavelength. This loss is rapidly increasing function of wavelength. So any infrared wavelength gets rapidly attenuated inside the glass. Then the main cause of intrinsic absorption is the infrared region. In the infrared region is a characteristic vibration frequency of the atomic bond. So in silica glass, the absorption is caused by the vibration of silicon oxygen, that is the SiO bonds, and the interaction between the vibrating bond and the electromagnetic field of optical signals results in the intrinsic absorption. This is the attenuation characteristics. These attenuation characteristics we had include the absorption loss in the ultraviolet region, the absorption loss in the infrared region, and the scattering loss. And then the loss measured loss of the fiber. It is nothing but a characteristic plotted between loss, which is measured in dB per kilometer, to the photon energy. Next is the scattering loss. Before that, absorption loss is also due to extrinsic absorption. So extrinsic absorption is due to the impurities introduced into the glass during fabrication. The metal impurities mainly included are such as iron, nickel, chromium are introduced into the fiber during fabrication. During this process of purification of the glass, certain water molecules may remain inside the glass even after the glass has been carefully purified. So these water molecules may also get diffused into the glass directly from the atmosphere if the glass is directly subjected to the atmosphere for prolonged period of time. And the extrinsic absorption also occurs when the hydroxyl ions, that is the OH ions, are introduced into the fiber. Then the impurity absorption losses, that is the impurity added during the fabrication process, it occurs either because of the electronic transition between the energy levels associated with the incompletely filled inner subshell of these ions, or because of the charge transition from one ion to another. And in modern fibers, the absorption losses are almost entirely due to this OH ions. In the near infrared region above 1.2 micrometer, the optical waveguide loss is predominantly determined by the presence of OH ions and the inherent infrared absorption of the constituent material. Next is the scattering loss. So scattering is a mechanism which transfers some or all of the optical power contained with one propagating mode to be transferred into a different mode. Actually, this arises from the microscopic variation in the material density. Another problem is compositional fluctuation, then structural inhomogeneities, and the defects occurring during manufacturing processes. There are many types of scattering, many processes, of which we are generally classifying it into linear scattering and non-linear scattering. And in linear scattering, we are having relay scattering and Mie scattering, and in non-linear scattering, we are having stimulated scattering and stimulated Raman scattering. So relay scattering, it arises when the size of homogeneities is smaller than the wavelength of light, and it mainly arises from the density and the compositional variation which causes the refractive index fluctuations, and it cannot be totally eliminated and set the lower limit of the fiber loss. It follows a characteristic of lambda raised to -4 dependence, and it decreases dramatically with the increasing wavelength. So for wavelength below 1 micrometer, it is dominant in the fiber, and for wavelength longer than 1 micrometer, the infrared absorption effects tend to dominate the optical signal attenuation. Then Mie scattering, it arises when the size of the inhomogeneities is greater than lambda by 10, where lambda is the wavelength of light. These inhomogeneities are resulted from the non-perfect cylindrical structure of the waveguide, fiber imperfections such as irregularities in the core cladding interface, core cladding refractive index differences along the fiber length, diameter fluctuations, strains and bubbles. And these inhomogeneities can be reduced by removing the imperfections due to the glass manufacturing process and by carefully controlled extrusion and the coating of the fiber. Then stimulated scattering is something regarded as a modulation of light through thermomolecular vibrations within the fiber. The scattered light appears as upper and lower sidebands, which are separated from the incident light by the modulation frequency. The incident photon in this scattering process produces an acoustic photon as well as a scattered photon, and it results in the optical frequency shift. And this type of scattering is significant above the threshold power density. Next is stimulated Raman scattering. This is happening when a higher frequency optical phonon rather than an acoustic phonon is generated in the scattering process. It occurs in both forward and backward direction in an optical fiber. The losses introduced by nonlinear scattering, it can be avoided by the use of a suitable optical signal, that is a signal working below the threshold optical powers. So these are all about the fiber characteristics, and main transition characteristics are bandwidth and attenuation, and the Attenuation is because there is a loss in fiber happen because of the losses like absorption loss, scattering loss, and then bending loss. So that is all about the optical fiber. Thank you.